What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So, almost forgot to make fun of the Velox Prime, and here we are going over the newest Prime pistol in Warframe that was released with Protea Prime Access. It's 2024, and these stats on this thing are really, really bad. So we'll be going over this in comparison to a lot of actual good pistols in this game, and also showing how you can make it good through weapon and frame buffs. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel and hit that like button. We do daily Warframe video uploads on this channel, and you're in the right place for Warframe content. Build videos, discussion videos, news videos, and the like. We'll also be live on stream tonight, working on a new video for DevStream Bingo tomorrow, and maybe even doing some Nitro Cells, because they were too boring for Sunday, to be honest. Alright, let's get right into the build and explaining what the Velox Prime actually is. Alright, so we got the Velox Prime right here. It's the signature weapon of Protea. Now, as far as the base stats, we've got 17 fire rate, so it's basically an SMG pistol. We've got 70 round magazine with a 2.6 reload time. With that crazy fast fire rate, you will be reloading this thing quite often. Maximum ammo 520 and 60 ammo per pickup. It does sometimes have ammo issues in longer missions. Our base stats are really not the best. We've got 27 total base damage, with 13 of it being slash. So it is a slash-focused weapon. That might explain to you why I'm on Ash right now. Additionally, you got 32% status chance, so pretty good status chance, and I think it's a 2x multiplier. We have Tenacious Bond equipped right now, so it goes up a little bit. And we have 14% crit chance. Comparing this to the Velox normal, they didn't really upgrade it that much. So we've got a little bit slower fire rate, we've got worse magazine, and we've got a smaller crit multiplier. And so basically, we got 3 more base damage, and we got 10% crit chance, or 10% status chance, excuse me. We did not get any crit chance at all. We got a small crit damage increase, but it's mostly quality of life stats and a little bit of base damage. So, to put this in perspective, this thing has 27 total base damage. If you look at an Incarnon pistol in this game, let's look at the Furus, for example. So the Furus has lower damage, but look at this. When you go to the Incarnon upgrade, you get 28 extra base damage when you Incarnon a pistol up. So we're getting over an entire Velox Prime worth of base damage from just upgrading this thing once. So that's going to put it in perspective that, it's technically a Prime, not an Incarnon, so it's supposed to be weaker. But I'm just putting this perspective for you, that this thing has very low base damage. And comparing it to some other pistols that are relatively recent. Okay, I guess the Zilok Prime is kind of recent. The Zilok Prime has 210 base damage. And the Zilok Prime is not a full auto SMG pistol, but 210 base damage versus 27, and that's pretty extreme if you ask me. So, the Vasto has 110. Let's look at a full auto pistol to compare it. So it's got more damage than the Axamati Prime, but how many years old are those, right? Like, there are a lot of the Sicarus Prime has nearly double the base damage of this thing. So a lot of weapons are going to have more base damage than this, so you're going to be trying to compensate with buffing this weapon in certain ways. So we've got a corrosive and heat build. Now, I did try a purely corrosive build with lethal torrent instead of scorch, and it actually works very well. But if you want to proc Cascadia Flare without any kills, you're going to need a scorch mod on here. So we're corrosive heat, and now it does have a decent amount of slash, so you can proc slash sometimes, but you're more likely to proc heat than proc slash on this. But Ash's passive gives you more damage with slash procs if we do get them. This is the main build I've been using, and of course we have 40% crit chance with a maxed out Prime Pistol Gambit, so the combination of two things will be making this thing have orange crits and guaranteed crits. So we've got Smoke Shadow Augment from Ash giving 150% critical chance. It's like a mod 150% critical chance. We've got Nourish for built-in viral, so we got corrosive, viral, and heat, and slash technically. Arcane Precision on headshot, 300% increased damage. We combine that with Cascadia Flare, and we've got a lot of damage on this thing. Our fire rate is actually to come from our Furax. I told you we're buffing this thing a lot, and I wasn't joking. Amalgam Furax body count giving 45% increased fire rate for secondary weapons. So we are doing this thing quite a few favors right now. We've also got Count Mochi and a Darza Kavat with Cat's Eye giving 60% additive crit chance to our weapon. So with all these things said and done, we're at 120-ish% crit chance, I'd say, if we buff everything up. So let's just go ahead and summon these enemies in. We got some Steel Path gameplay as well. But I don't know why they had to make this thing not actually exciting. It has a special passive with Protea where it has increased ammo efficiency. But as far as like every other frame in the game, it's very, very boring. And honestly, if you have this thing, if this is your main weapon, you should be embarrassed because this is just boring. Single target, it has no built-in punch through. And yeah, it can kill stuff, but I just showed you, like, you know, an entire, like, 2 minutes worth of explaining of things we're using to buff this. So, as you can see in the top right corner, we've got Cascadia Flare giving 400% damage right now, and it's wore off. 300% damage from our Arcane Precision, and we're doing about, like, you know, was it like 50,000 damage bullet? So we can shred these guys pretty well with all these buffs. And we've technically got green shards on Ash, too, so if they get 14 procs, these guys are kind of easy to kill, but if they were tankier, we'd be able to fully remove their armor as well. So, should you use this thing? Should you even bother formaing this thing, in my opinion? Well, I've got 3 formas on here right now. We are technically missing the Exilus mod slot. That could be like Steady Hands, or that could be, you know, probably Steady Hands, honestly, because it has a little bit of recoil on it. Is this thing worth your forma, at least with this build? I'm going to go ahead and say no. If you are at the level where you can get this Velox Prime, which I believe it's like Mastery Rank like 12. Let me check actually what the Mastery requirement of Velox Prime is. If you are someone that is considering using or maining the Velox Prime, it's actually MR13. Excuse me. This is a Mastery Rank 13 pistol. And reminder, the Kuva Nucor is like a lot lower MR than this. If you are MR13 looking to main this pistol, I think you should stop right now and go get an Incarnon. It's a really high MR pistol, like almost as high as the weapon MRs can go for these things. And it's single target. Now, of course, you could put a punch-through mod on here, but Seeker is the only punch-through mod for pistols. It's a 15 drain dash polarity. And not to mention, the ribbon stats of this thing are as low as possible because it's a new weapon. And if there's any poster child for new prime weapons not deserving 0.5 dispo, I think this is a great example right here. Would this thing be broken if it had 3-dot dispo? If it had neutral dispo on ribbons? Of course not. There's literally no way it would be broken. Even with, if you had maximum stat ribbons, this would not be broken. Because the way it is that even weapons that are lower mastery rank have more AoE coverage, have, you know, maybe not as reliable of like status chance, but like, if you talk about the Kuva Nucor's got more status chance in this thing. Kuva Nucor can hit like, what, 4 enemies? Cycron can hit like 3-4 enemies. The Kuva weapons are going to be better than this. The Incarnons will obviously be better than this, and even other primes could be better than this, depending which one we're talking about. So as far as a full auto, like SMG pistol, I don't see the purpose of this. I don't see the purpose of this. It can work on Steel Path, but, you know, I am buffing it a lot. You could use less buffs technically, but, you know, at that point, it's like, why am I even using the Velox? I'm using the Velox just to show that I think it's very underwhelming. And the Okina is technically better, but the Okina is also pretty boring too. So I wish that we had some more exciting stuff here. Maybe they could have buffed the crit stats so I don't have to run an Adarza Kavat to have just orange crits on this thing. Like, the fact they got no crit buffs was crazy to me. And, you know, like, it's an underwhelming feeling weapon. It's like, you know, one enemy at a time. It can do some decent, like, you know, kill times on these guys. But, you know, if we were running an actual meta weapon, the entire hallway would already be dead by the time I kill, like, 2 enemies. It's quite a bit of reloading, too. I would recommend, you know, Flare or Merciless. Merciless reload speed is going to do you pretty well. But, you know, just don't even use this thing. Don't put any formas on it, in my opinion. And honestly, if DE's listening, don't even make it Incarnon. This thing is just boring. Like, go make like an older weapon Incarnon. This thing is, I call these obligation primes. If you looked at when Grendel Prime came out, there was the Masseter Prime, which is not, it was definitely not a very popular weapon. With Baruch, the Cobra and Crane Prime. These are signature weapons for these frames that they must prime because, you know, they have to put 3 items in the prime access. This one's an obligation prime to throw in the pile with the Masseter and the Cobra and Cane. So, thankfully, after Protea, we've got some good signature weapons coming out, like the Quasis should be the next one with Zaku. The Compressa with Yoreli is much better than this. And then not to mention the Ceto Prime with Lavos Prime should be one of the best prime weapons in years. So, that's going to be my review for it, guys. Hopefully you found it at least interesting and helpful. You know, I'm not saying that if you use this thing, you should be embarrassed, but maybe you should reconsider it. Like, if I see you with this equipped, I might be questioning, is that the best you got, dude? Is the Velox Prime really the best you got? So yeah, I'll see you guys next one. Appreciate all the support. There's definitely other builds you can go. You can go for a pure slash build on here if you really wanted to. You can go for a viral build, but we have Nourish giving a viral anyway. So if you want to see the Ash video, I have it linked in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.